Like, seriously, there is no flamethrower unit. It doesn't exist. It's not historically accurate, it's just more complicated for no reason. And now we get to the tanks, which is where it gets really ugly. And I feel like the deal breaker, because it's obvious. If you look at the fact that there is armor, sort of faction-specific armor for Germany, Soviets, British, and Americans, that this was the era they put the most effort in. Maybe industry also is very high up there, but we'll talk about that later. Armor. Why is it so bad? Well, there's first of all the thing that really pisses me off is the fact that you need to have sort of a double research mechanic. So you research for the faction-specific armor, the actual armored tank that you're going to be producing, and then you can produce a tank. And some unlock templates and the likes, which is appreciated, but not exactly important to our discussion. Then, once you have researched something like that, then you actually go in and research this thing. I'm not even sure what it is. I can't even call it because there's no name for it. It's just a technology that allows you to build the actual tanks as a unit. Because if we go to look at the Soviet armor, we see that it doesn't add a unit. It doesn't add... Yeah, it doesn't add anything. Like, it's ridiculous. It doesn't really make any sense. Like, it's complicated as hell. If I go to my production screen, you can see that I can build... By the way, the icons are well made. There's one thing in favor. I mean, some of the icons are well made, some of them are atrocious. For example, you can see that I can produce T26, and then I can go over here, and if I go to my deployment, to my armor divisions, you can see that there is the Soviet BT tank, the Soviet light tank, and the Soviet amphibious tank. And if I go back to the production screen, you can see that I can build the BT, I can build the T26, which is the light tank, and then we can build the T37, which is the amphibious tank. I'm not sure why this is that way. I mean, there is no reason for the BT to be a separate tank from the normal tank production line. Like, obviously, it turns into the T-34 later. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, though. Like, why should it be that way? Like, what is the reason behind the T-26 and the BT being separated into two different tank sections when clearly they're both light tanks? And in the normal game, you just have that both be a light tank, and then you have more. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm trying right now. I'm trying really hard. In case you aren't wondering, I'm trying really hard to understand why, but I just cannot. Like, why is there a unit type called the BT tank? BT means fast tank. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make absolutely any sense. And then you go down further, and I'm guessing you're gonna unlock the T-34 tank class. But then at that point, you run into the problem of if you have your, your light tanks. I don't know. It's confusing. I haven't played it. I won't play it because it's way too damn confusing. It doesn't make any sense to have it this way. There's a mod called the Extended Rework mod, which also reworks the armor tech tree, but it doesn't make such a mess of it. It's not quite as impossible to understand. And then before you say, oh, but it's just historically accurate, or oh, it's just a beta, well, the just a beta part is really not much of an excuse because, oh yeah, how long has it been that the game has been out? Since June the 6th. It's pretty easy to remember. And what is it right now? September the 3rd? September the 4th? No, September the 2nd. So it's like been 3 months. And then there's some other mods. You can look at August Storm, for example, which obviously is a full overhaul of the game, just like Black Ice, and has been finished, well, maybe not completely finished, but has a lot more features that are a lot better implemented and a lot more balanced than the Black Ice. It's just a fact. You can go play August Storm. You can just go play it, and you can see it's better. It's more easily understandable, and it's better. It's more historically accurate. It's more everything. The other, and also obviously, it's an early development, is not really that much of a excuse because they released this mod as a 1.0. It's a 1.0 version, stated by the modders in their, in their advertisement, in their page on the Steam Workshop. This is a 1.0 version, so it's supposed to be finished and playable. It's not a beta. And then you look at the historical accuracy side of the argument, and I've actually crunched some numbers. I've looked at the T-34 1940, the Panzer III 1939, or rather 1940, which are both 1940 versions, so the same type of medium tank for both the Soviets and the Germans. And then I looked at the US medium tank, the Sherman, because I didn't even look at the M3 Lee, which is the, well, it's actually not even an equivalent. It's a 1941 vehicle? No, it's, well, it's still later research than the T-34, which is 1940. It's a 19... whatever. It doesn't really make any sense. And then the British one, which is the Covenanter. Now, obviously, there are differences in it, because otherwise they wouldn't have bothered making this huge tech tree for each specific nation. And what I found doesn't really make any sense. Let's actually read it. You can pause the video right now to actually read the T-34 stats. Then you can pause it right here to read the Panzer III stats. Here to read the Covenant stats. And here to read the M4 stats. Now you're gonna find that the German Panzer III has a lot better statistics in terms of piercing damage, heart attack, and also defense than the T-34 76 1940 version and even the M1 Sherman, which is a 1941 tank. Now, I don't think I need to tell anyone who knows the slightest bit about armor in World War II that the Panzer III definitely was inferior in terms of armor and gun to the T-34 and the M4 Sherman. So why is it better? Well, I haven't found a reason, actually. At first I thought it was just German wank. Like, they just liked German things, so they made Germany overpowered for no reason. But then I look at the Panzer IV-G, you can pause to read the stats, and compared it with the T-34 1942 and even the M4 Sherman, which is 1 year lower. Actually, no, T-34 1941 and the M4 Sherman, which are the same year, actually. I got confused a little bit. Same year as the Panzer IV-G, which is 1941. And I found that the Panzer IV-G has some really weird statistics. For example, the whole of the Panzer IV line has an air attack statistics. For what reason can the Panzer IV attack air? I honestly have no idea. It just doesn't click on me. There's no reasoning for that to be the case. And then I found that the Panzer IV-G's stats are essentially the same in some regards as the Panzer III-G. You can literally see over here that some of the stats are remaining the same. For example, the brakes for the defense and the armor are the same between the Panzer IV-G and the Panzer III-F. And then the gun statistics are also pretty much the same. I feel I'm probably, yeah, 81 piercing and 19 hard attack versus 19 hard attack in that piercing, and then 15 soft attack against 13. So the only difference is that you get 2 extra soft attacks for a vehicle which includes a bigger gun, a longer gun, because L46 against L42, with obviously superior ammunition because it is 2 years later, so it's obviously implied that it's using superior technology in that regard. So why is this the case? Also, for some reason, the Panzer IV has 4 kilometers maximum speed, whereas the Panzer III has 6. The T-34 has 6.5. Yeah, you can tell. I remember the stats because I've looked at it. And the US armor has 6. The Sherman has 6. Also, the British Covenanter has 6. Then the Crusader has 6.5 at 1941. I think. Yeah, the Cromwell seems to be a 1942 vehicle. Now, I may have made the mistake in once or twice in actually explaining this, because I have no idea how it's supposed to work, okay? The normal game is not that complicated. It's much more complicated than most games, but it's not that complicated compared to, for example, Hearts of Iron 3. But it's understandable, so I can speak with a relative amount of experience in regards to it. However, with Black Ice, there is absolutely no way in which I can unravel the mess that is this tech tree. There is just no way that I can actually be bothered to sit here for like 50 minutes trying to actually understand this, because it doesn't make any sense, and I don't see why I should waste my time actually trying to unravel it. There's just no way. Like, I'm not gonna do it. And then, if you look at the statistics, obviously, I already told you, the Panzer III, for some reason, has more hard attack, more soft attack, more armor than the T-34 and the Sherman, and more hard attack as well. And then I looked at the penetration tables. I'll leave the sources down below. Sources, obviously, the site I'm using actually has sources from German and American books. So this isn't Soviet propaganda, quote-unquote, before you think that. And the penetration of the T-34 model 1940, which uses the L11 75mm gun, is about 63 millimeters at 500 meters. And then the Panzer III is something like 45 to 55, depending on the study, at 500 meters, which has the Panzer IV F has the KWK 38 L42 50mm, which obviously makes sense. It is a older gun. It is a smaller gun. It's inferior in every regard to the T-34 1940s. I'm not even gonna think about the M4's 75mm main gun, because it would just be worthless. I've already established that the tech tree has stats that are just made up completely for no real reason, and it just doesn't make any sense. Also, why does the American tech tree go down to the M60 pattern, whereas the Soviet one only goes down to the IS-3 and the T-44? And then the British one, where does that go? It goes to the Centurion Mark 6. Like, again, every new time I look at this tech tree, I just see more complication that doesn't make any bloody sense.